Thomas and Chris are going to do an amazing job in this class. I just wanted to take a few moments and say hello to everyone for the primary reason that there's two people here that are pretty special to me. My brother-in-law, Mayfield, and my nephew, Caleb Mayfield. So these guys are special to me for a lot of reasons. Caleb, he's only known me. I've been around his whole life, right? Because when did you and Melissa get married?
1995.
1995. So oftentimes I tell people about my background because some of you know me through social media, and that's the only way you know me. Like Perry and I met on social media, and you see this good-looking, well-spoken, successful man, and you go, man, that guy must have been born with a silver spoon in his mouth. And it always just kind of cracks me up because sometimes only family know where you come from, right? And, I met Mackie when he was sitting on the swing at the FHA home on a little farm at Folkwood place that I grew up at. But Mackie's real special to me, and it's a good chance to publicly say that out loud because when I went to, when I graduated, is what I'm trying to say, from high school, went to college, I would come back in the summer times and I would work for Mackie at his construction company, him and his daddy. And when I was a teenager, I would work for Mackie. So it's family, and family's a cool thing. And this little guy's special to me because my wife and I didn't know if we were going to be able to have kids. So we lived in Louisiana, and every weekend when he was little, we'd go back and forth. So one of the hardest things that we would do was go to St. Louis. We went to St. Louis in, I guess, 04, 05, something like that. He was about 5 or 6. And but we'd go home every weekend when I lived in Louisiana to Mississippi to see this little guy. Because we'd go places with him, and he was blonde, my wife's blonde. They thought it was our kid. We thought that was neat. So I want to tell you a story about Caleb. And I used to tell this story in all my sales classes, and I wanted to kick it off because I want to embarrass him a little bit. And it's a good lesson about sales because there's two things that kids have, and we end up losing it at some point. But when we're little, like my daughter, she is at his age when the story took place, she's 5, so he's around 5 or 6. But my daughter knows a couple things. She knows to use emotions to persuade me to get what she wants. And if any of you guys have kids, you know what I'm talking about. Anybody got kids? They're not scared of emotions. They'll get down, they'll cry right now if they have to get that toy, right? And she's not scared of asking over and over and over and over and over again. And I'm like, to the point where it's like going, ah! It's like, would you just quit? But she'll keep on asking. Well, that little guy was much the same way. So here's the story. My wife and I moved to St. Louis. We've not seen him in a long time. And we're getting ready to come down. Caleb has inklings of memories of this story, but we're getting ready to come down, and Caleb's getting excited. And he speaks with a little bit less southern accent now, but when he was little, everything was thick. Uncle Todd, we're going to have some fun. Like, yes, we are, Caleb. We're going to have a good time. I was thinking, Uncle Todd, they got some new remote control trucks. Thinking maybe you could get me one. I was like, all right, well, we might do that. Wouldn't it be fun, Uncle Todd? We could go mud riding with this truck. We could jump sticks with it. Like, yeah, sounds good. Me and you, Uncle Todd. It's like, all right. So I get down there, and we load up in the truck, and we're driving to Hattiesburg, and we're going to the toy store. And the whole time he's talking about what we're going to do. We're going to go jumping in the mud with this truck. We're going to cut donuts with this truck. It sounds fun. I'm getting excited, right? And we go into the toy store, and toy stores understand options, right? You got your die-cast toys, a couple bucks, and they get a few more bucks, and then they get 10s and 20s and 30s and 40s and 80s. And on the very end of this toy store, at the end of the truck aisle, they put one of those big remote control trucks where you get in, you actually drive them around those, I don't know what those things are called, but my daughter's got one now, those power wheels. Well, he immediately goes straight to the power wheel. Ooh, Uncle Todd, look at this. And he's like, woo, can I get in it? And he's getting in it. And he's like, what do you think, Uncle Todd? And I'm like, he's going, no, I don't, no, that's a lot. He's going straight for the best thing that money can buy. I'm like, that's not what we talked about. We talked about, getting a smaller ride. So he gets out of it a little bit deflated, but not lost yet. And then we go down to the other option. And now he's looking at like the $80 machine. I'm thinking in my brain, I thought we were coming here for like a $5 or $10 toy. Not some big ride, So I'm saying no, and then we get down to like the $30, $45 option, and he starts listing all the benefits. Well, you can still go mudding with this one, Uncle Todd. Wouldn't that be fun? Asking me confirmation questions. Yeah, that'd be fun. Wouldn't you and I have a good time with it? Getting emotionally, yes, we'd have a good time with it. It sure could be a blast. I'm like, yeah, it could be. And I'm like, well, I thought, Caleb, I thought when we were coming for like a little toy, like a $5, $10 one. He looks up at me. He's a lot taller than me now. But a little 5-year-old, he goes, well, I understand, Uncle Todd. I mean, you don't come home much anymore. And if you can't afford it, I said, fine, get it. And I bet you that thing was destroyed the very next day. But he got him a little like $35, $40 gig, and he learned something about sales. Well, a couple weeks back, the young man, who's very money motivated, but isn't necessarily motivated to do what his daddy does, wants to kind of do his own thing, calls me up and has this idea of starting up a car wash company. So we start talking. I'm like, you got to shoot some videos. So he shot a couple videos, and I gave him suggestions on the videos. He's changed them up, and he's taking the advice. He's only 16 years of age, and I said, well, you guys should come out and sit in the class, because he starts asking questions that makes me realize the young man's got a lot of potential. One of the things he said to me on the phone conversation, because, I was looking at the video responses, and I'm noticing that most of the people that are watching the videos, because you can see the results, he goes, they're mostly like teenagers. Shouldn't I be focusing on people that got money like their parents? I'm like, yes. Yeah. So I'm proud of the young man. I'm proud of his daddy. His daddy's always, been an amazing dad. He supported us. I mean, I lived in their mobile home. They got much nicer than the mobile home now, but I lived in their mobile home, and their little dog would sleep in my lap. And I mean, if it wasn't for Mackie, who knows? He let me make the money in the summer times it would take to make it through college. So I probably wouldn't have married Shannon, because I wouldn't have had the money to take her on a date. So I grew up in Mississippi, and these guys mean a lot to me. And I just want to take a few minutes and say family is the most important thing that you can have. I'm really proud of them for being here. And they're going to learn a lot, and you're going to learn a lot. And we're going to learn a little bit from the emotions of a 5-year-old and how we can take that all the way up to where we're at today. But that's it for me. You got 2 guys in here. One is really old and bald. I think he just turned 34, 5, 6, 55. How old are you, Chris?
I'm not bald.
I shave it this way.
34.
34. He goes in there and goes, can you give me a fade all up here? Just fade it in the front. Got to back a little bit. I don't like it getting in my eyes. Get rid of all that.
Party in the front, business in the back.
That's right, baby. That's right.
Chris is so many things. There's so many wonderful qualities that I'm going to say about both of these guys. But if I said one thing about Chris, I'd say his clients love him.
Yes.
They love him. They love him. He comes on, they get all excited about him. His first year in, his clients getting nominated for Business Coach of the Year over at the Service Roundtable. And I'm like, I've been doing this for 6 years on my own. Ain't nobody even said, hey, you're pretty decent at this. They already got him nominated in the top 3.
I heard you can dance.
Can you dance?
We all know I cannot.
Yeah, we've seen that.
We've seen the video.
So his clients love him. He does a great job. He builds a great relationship. He's a great trainer. And then we got Thomas. His clients love him too. Our clients don't love us enough to nominate us for anything, though, right? But Thomas makes people a lot of money. And I was praising Thomas this morning to Mackie. We're growing, and this is kind of a business lesson, but we're growing. And I'll be clear with you. When I started this thing on day one, my initial thought process was I want to have something that I'm passionate about, that I can support my family. I don't need to be a millionaire. I don't need to rule the world. So my vision initially was kind of limited. That was what my initial vision was, and it started to grow. And a big part of the reason why I started to grow was because of Thomas. Thomas starts, knocking on the door, saying maybe we should do something together. And then we went over a long courting process, like 2 years. We promise group with each other. We really got to know each other. I said, let's do it, man. And now Thomas is on board, and I'm like, I'm happy because Thomas is here. It's me and Thomas now. And there's always been Terry.
There's even a song. We're not gonna sing.
Is there? Yeah, there is.
We're the 2 best friends that anyone could have.
So, but and then Thomas has this passion, this desire to grow a team around him. And he's kind of like Caleb goes, man, we need to get another coach. Man, we need to get another coach. We need to get another coach. I'm like, I don't know. Well, if you can't afford it, Todd. So we hire Chris. And then it becomes real clear to me as we get a little older, we get a little bit more mature, risk stops being scary. By the way, that's a great sales lesson for you too. Because some of you guys are scared of asking because it's risky because you might be told no. Some of you guys are scared of charging more money because it's risky because you might be told you're too expensive. Well, business and growth is about taking some risk. And then eventually you start seeing things a little bit differently. And it's taken me a long time to get into a different mindset. I'm just sharing it with you now. Now my mindset is very much like, okay, let's grow this team. We got a lot of people to serve. We got you guys to serve. And I got to make this guy over here happy. And the way I'm going to do that is he's going to have a lot of team members around him because he loves leading people. So it just lines up. It just ends up lining up. So you got to grow. And you guys are in here because you're wanting to learn how to be a guy that's going to go out there and sell things, right? And you have to figure out, hey, this is good. You know, my wife and I we got a new home. We're going to have to put a roof on it. And I bought a lawnmower. And as I'm sitting on that lawnmower, I had for an instant a thought of that went through my brain, which was, oh, wow, you know, we're spending some money getting these things going. And the next thought that went through my head was, and that's good, because I blessed the guy that sells lawnmowers this week. I'm blessing the guy that puts on roofs this week. There's families that are going to have a better life now because I am now having a better life. And you guys got to think of it the same way as well. Oftentimes we look at a better life for ourselves and we think, oh, what am I taking from someone? That's not true. When you go out there and you sell something, you're helping so many people. Yes, you're helping that homeowner directly in front of you. They're going to have a great system they're not going to have to worry about. It may be a little bit more than the guy down the road, but they're going to have tons of repairs. And you've helped every person down the line connected to that system. From the guy at the factory that put the daggum thing together, the guy that delivered it to someone in the office. Every time you sell something, you're helping someone if integrity is at the core of who you are. And I know it is. Ain't nobody here got to be told to do the right thing. You're doing the right thing. True?
True.
So don't be scared of pricing. Don't be scared of selling. Don't feel guilty about it. It's a good thing. Someone's going to make that money, and someone's going to get the benefit to them and their family. I want you to ask yourself this question. You ready? Say it out loud after I say it. Why not me?
Why not me?
I don't know. Why not you? Make it happen.